I'm in Hyde Park in central London. This is a royal park, so you could say that it's owned by the Queen, although I think it's unlikely we'll see her walking the corgis here anytime soon. It has been the site of many important events, such as concerts by the Rolling Stones, Pavarotti, the huge anti-Iraq war demonstrations,
give peace a chance,
and of course, Speaker's Corner, where disputatious and cantankerous individuals get on a soapbox and give their contrarian views about the world.
You tell me, who's the friend of Britain? Obama or Trump?
Shame on you! No! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
I'm standing on the site of the Great Exhibition of 1851. Although it was supposed to show off the world's achievements, realistically it wanted to make one thing really clear, that Britain stood alone as a leader in industry, textiles, steel and innovative inventions. A massive towering glass structure was built to accommodate all of these exhibits. It was the length of 3 football pitches and it was nicknamed the Crystal Palace. Queen Victoria visited the site 3 times and her husband Albert was listed as one of the organisers, although I think that's probably quite doubtful. The great and the good of British society passed through here, the likes of Lewis Carroll, of course Charlotte Bronte as well, Charles Darwin, Karl Marx, and of course the star literary turn was Charles Dickens, the internationally renowned author. It's impossible to exaggerate how successful he was. Think J.K. Rowling and then some. Even a century later, his books still sell more than 1 million copies a year. By the time that he arrived at the exhibition, he already had the smash hits of Oliver Twist, Nicholas Nickleby and the Pickwick Papers behind him. But still to come was A Tale of Two Cities, with perhaps the most famous opening line in literary history. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was certainly the best of times for Dickens, but it was the worst of times for the people he wrote about, the poor, the millions who toiled away in the industries that helped to create the fabulous exhibits that were on display in the Crystal Palace, which of course boasted of Britain's greatness. He may have cared about the poor in Britain, but the truth is that Dickens absolutely despised the Chinese, and by today's standards there can be no question, he was a racist.
Consider the greatness of the English results and the extraordinary littleness of the Chinese. Go from the silk weaving and cotton spinning of us outer barbarians to the laboriously carved ivory balls of the flowery empire. Ball within ball and circle within circle, which have made no advance and been of no earthly use for thousands of years.
This was less than a decade after the First Opium War, where the British naval fleet and soldiers defeated China to keep the drug trade open. China banned opium and destroyed valuable bales of it, so Britain went to war to protect the trade. But they did more than that. They also claimed Hong Kong in the peace treaty. A second war followed on the same grounds, narcotics, and this was just 5 years after the Great Exhibition. Dickens compared the might and muscle of British industry with what he referred to as the Little Exhibition, the Chinese one. He waxed lyrical about the power of the British printing press, which produced the Times every single day, and compared it with the antiquated Chinese version.
Well may the 3 Chinese divinities of the past, present and future be represented with the same heavy face. Well may the dull, immovable, respectable triad sit so amicably, side by side in a glory of yellow jaundice, with a strong family likeness among them.
Another symbol of Chinese backwardness for Dickens was the 160-foot teakwood ship known as the Keying, otherwise known as the Chinese junk. It was acquired, or perhaps stolen, by several British people in Hong Kong and sailed back to Britain, where it was moored on the Thames and kept as a popular tourist attraction. Dickens was utterly contemptuous, referring to it as a ridiculous abortion, a pen tray and a floating toy shop.
The best that seamanship can do for a ship is to paint 2 immense eyes on her bows, in order that she may see her way, and not to hang out bits of red rag in stormy weather to mollify the wrath of the ocean. Thousands of years have passed away since the first Chinese junk was constructed on this model, and the last Chinese junk that was ever launched was none the better for the waste and desert of time.
Western hatred of China has a long history, although now that China is a manufacturing powerhouse and will soon be the world's largest economy, those with Charles Dickens' outdated views have to be a little bit more refined. To paraphrase Charles Dickens' most famous character, Oliver Twist, please sir, can we have no more?